And welcome back, everybody, to Dr. Michael Likey's Mystical Wisdom, the live streaming video broadcast. And we had such great response to the last one. We're going to probably continue in the series of topics that will hopefully enhance the quality of your life. And now we're going to continue with a healing meditation. These are one of my favorite ones to do. Gently closing our eyes, we gaze in upon the brow or third eye area. We take the sacred breath in, releasing with a sound. Right here and right now, we become aware of this endless field of love energy in which we reside. We are one and the same with it. Individualized expressions of the one which we are extensions of. As we breathe, so does love breathe. As we live, so does love live. As we laugh, create, contribute, multiply, so too does love laugh, create, contribute, and multiply. Because love is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, and is always expanding, so too are we expanding, for love needs us to expand and to create, to express, and to be all that it can be. We affirm and we declare right here and right now in this energy of love that we are already all that is great. We are already all that is eternal and good, because that is what we are allowing to be born through us as us. We are already perfection, continually blossoming through us as us, and it feels good. It feels great. As above, so below. We give thanks for the word, knowing that it is law and is already so in the mind of the universe. We give thanks, releasing the word and letting it be so. And so it is, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen. We'll approach establishing mystical self-direction right after this. Mystical Wisdom by Dr. Michael Likey will encourage the awakening of your soul for the good of all of humanity and for the fulfillment of your soul's potential in this lifetime. Go forth in love for the evolution of this planet and become all that you can be. Read Mystical Wisdom by Dr. Michael Likey. And we're back. And we've got a fascinating topic this week. It's establishing mystical self-direction. And I hope you download it off of my website at www.drmichaellikey.com. This affirmation sheet, or show notes, if you will, that contain our higher consciousness invocation, opening and closing one. And on this side, we have, of course, the topic which you can follow along to. And I highly recommend that you say each of these things to yourself, each of these points or affirmations, at least 3 times, and hopefully with your eyes closed, taking the breath in so you can absorb the points on an unconscious level. Establishing mystical self-direction, very basically and very simply, is nothing more than allowing God guidance or intuition, they're one and the same, to seep up from the center of your perfect mind, universal mind, God mind, up and through the surface level of your mind, so that you can be intuitively guided, so that you can trust that feeling, that still small voice, if you will, that tells you to, go out and go here or go there, and then suddenly you might meet someone. You might meet one person or a number of people, and that will result in eventual leading of your soul's purpose and being very, very happy and doing humanitarian or universal deeds, if you will, of creativity and creation. Because really we're individualized expressions of Source.
which means we come forth in this lifetime only to do service. And that is relevant on all levels, on all spiritual levels. That essentially means that Source within us wants to be birthed through us in our own individualized way. So in other words, this person may be a writer, this person may be an artist or a surgeon, this person may be a garbage man. It doesn't matter. We're finely tuned, whether we recognize it or not, and we are perfect because we have Source in every single one of the trillions of cells of our body. There's no place God is not. How can we not be perfect? We're conduits for God. And the more we allow this, the more we allow mystical self-direction and intuition to flow up to the surface level of our minds, the more we'll be happier, and will also enhance not only our own lives, but the lives of others. And you may have noticed too, this is all in the notes, but we'll go through the individual points mostly. When you're feeling calm and relaxed, when you're feeling content, that's when things seem to flow more. When you're worried about money, or where your next meal is coming from, or where your next project is coming from, or if you can feed your child, I know that sounds big, or if you can feed your soul, or if you can make your partner happy, which of course the partner has to make themselves happy through Source, through reaching in and out. That's when things start to flow, and we just take a breath and we relax. We allow God guidance, mystical self-direction, intuition to come up and to guide us on a surface level. So being as easygoing as you can, and who cares what other people say? Other people might go, oh, they're lazy, or oh, they don't seem to care about anything. And really, truly, it's because you care that you're allowing this God guidance, you're allowing a relaxation. So I highly recommend, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, meditate. And we'll get into a few details in a few moments. Or do yoga, or do Tai Chi. Physically nurture your body, not only with exercise, but with proper nutrients. Hydrate your body. Do all the things to make your body as perfect as God had intended, as perfect as the divine designer of our bodies had intended. It's very, very exciting. Once you begin to feel good physically, you start to be able to relax. Just as finely tuned you are proportionally, you relax as well, and you allow for God guidance. So easygoingness is very important. You begin as well to put into perspective what's really important in your life, what there is a need to fret over, and what there isn't a need to fret over. Because many times we sweat the small stuff. Remember, several years ago a book came out and it said, I think the title was, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And that's a great spiritual adage. That's truer than any of us realize. But naturally, if you're not at a certain level, if your soul is still a baby soul, you are going to sweat the small stuff. You're going to care what people think about you. You're going to walk into a room and be all self-conscious and imagine, oh, maybe that person likes me, or that person doesn't like me, or whatever. It's all in your mind, which is your ego, which is illusionary, or Maya. When we allow God to overtake us, God guidance, mystical self-direction, intuition, then there's a calmness that befalls us. There's a contentment that befalls us. And in other people's eyes, it seems like confidence as opposed to arrogance. It feels like confidence, that you're walking in almost as light as air, and whatever you have to say is actually listened to, and maybe goes as deep as others' a soul will allow, depending on the level of their soul. So really not sweating the small stuff is really, really important. In the notes I say little and greater, and essentially when you're more God-guided, when your intuition is guiding you, and you've established more mystical self-direction, you'll naturally not sweat the small stuff. You'll naturally be able to just, if something seems amiss in this lifetime, you'll be guided as to how to take care of it. Also, if you affirm and declare 3 times a day that you're being guided mystically, that already God is your provider, already higher mind, highest intelligence is guiding you, 3 times, if you say that verbally and mentally and in your mind and in your third eye, the eye of the soul, it's been clinically proven. As a clinical hypnotherapist, I know this to be true. It's been proven that if you say something to yourself 3 times while in altered state, that is either during self-hypnosis or light meditative state, the unconscious mind will be able to take hold of it. It'll be able to grasp onto whatever concepts you give it. But you kind of have to say them 3 times every time you meditate in order for that to happen. So, keeping this in mind, let's actually go through the notes. It says, alternative. I recognize that there are alternatives to leading a life of quiet desperation, union with peace, love and joy, which is higher intelligence, universal mind, or God. Why live a tough life? Why live a life of quiet desperation where you're seething just beneath the surface, or you're frustrated, or you're brokenhearted, or you feel maybe life or other people have done you bad or wrong? Really, when you're in touch with Source, and the more you meditate, the more you practice contact your mystical meditation, the calmer you'll begin to be, and the more you'll be able to put into perspective what's important and what's not, and you won't sweat the small stuff. So why lead a life? There is an alternative to having fear or to feeling frustrated or hard done by. Mystical or contact meditation. I affirm that the key to peace and better health and healing, mind, body, and soul, is ongoing and regular meditation. Its purpose is for union with God or universal mind. And that's the true definition of mysticism. That's the desire or the act of union with God. That's all mysticism means, is union with God. So anybody who claims to be a mystic, they better make sure that they're always one with God, or one with God consciously or unconsciously, and that their main spiritual tool or practice is mystical meditation or contact meditation, which is for the purpose of divine contact and union with God. Because when you do that, when you breathe in the sacred breath and release it, even there you're oxygenating your blood. And oxygen, the breath, that's highest intelligence. That's God right there. And when your blood is oxygenated, when every single one of the trillions of cells of your body are oxygenated, you're making contact with God. You suddenly feel at peace. There's a contentment. There's a relaxation that occurs. So there's a mystical aspect to meditation. With self-hypnosis, you're merely calming yourself. So you're distracting your mind, you're focusing on whatever focal point the hypnotherapist gives you. Hopefully they're telling you to close your eyes and focusing in here or back, because it's been clinically proven. If you look back for about a minute, or if you close your eyes and look into your third eye for about a minute, you'll go into altered state. And once you're in altered state, even if you're aware of nothing but external sounds and circumstances, you're still making divine contact. There's a relaxation, there's a peace, there's a contentment, there's a joy that starts to befall you, because you begin to automatically stun out that verbiage that goes on in your mind. It's the garbage from your ego mind telling you you're no good, or worry about this, or you have to run errands, or you have to do this. Just start again. Take the breath with your eyes closed. Feed God into your body and allow God to overtake any of the worries, anything that your ego mind or your illusionary mind or your flawed human mind is telling you to worry about. So mystical or contact meditation really is the key. If you do it every day, for 20 minutes, minimum 20 minutes, or if you do it twice a day, even better. I try to meditate 3 times a day. Morning, somewhere around noontime, and evening, I do my Tai Chi, I do my Qigong, I do my Shaolin cardio kickboxing, and then I meditate, sitting in quiet contemplation. And I give gratitude for everything I've got. I give gratitude even for the dust. And that's another trick you can use while going into mystical meditation, is gratitude. Oh my goodness. The energy of gratitude is so high resonating. Appreciation is higher, but gratitude is one that most can achieve. Just say to yourself what you're grateful for. Even if your situation is really bad, say, oh, I'm grateful for the fact that I'm alive. I'm grateful for those around me that love me. I'm grateful for, and then fill in the blanks and really feel it. Because if you feel that, it's like scientific or affirmative prayer. The gratitude is the same as source, almost the same, and it will start to work a healing modality throughout your body. It will actually begin to start healing you mind, body, and soul. Even if you think you're not experiencing anything, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, focus in here, and if you get distracted with thoughts, take the breath again and continue. Do this for about 5 minutes to start, 10 minutes, eventually 20 minutes, a couple of times a day. So mystical or contact meditation will begin to break down the ego-based obstacles in your unconscious mind, allowing eventually God at the center of your mind to come up more and more, thus God guiding you or helping you intuit things. You will begin to trust those feelings. You will essentially be mystically self-directed. The next point is mystical or intuitive self-direction. We basically covered that. I proclaim that true God guidance, intuitive self-direction, is activated over time via the route of meditation. Regular and ongoing contact with God's perfection eventually allows me to become more open and sensitive to the same energy factors that comprise the universe, which is perfect mind or higher conscious awareness. My intuition, or God guidance, therefore, also evolves as a result of regular and ongoing union with the universal presence. So when you think about it, how can you help but not become attuned to God's perfect light, God's perfect love, God's perfect joy, God's perfect everything by meditating? Because when we meditate, we begin to touch God. We begin to, even on an unconscious level, I'm not saying that you'll necessarily experience anything, even peace. Even if you feel a calmness, you're making divine contact. And the deeper you go, i.e. the longer you do this, the more you'll begin to not even want to come up and out of mystical meditation back into the illusionary physical world. You'll really want to stay there. That's when you'll know you've gone deep enough. So you're sitting in quiet contemplation, you're following your breath, you're looking up into your third eye, and if your mind starts to wander, embrace it, take the breath in and release it. And just keep doing that over and over, and that will activate God's presence within you consciously, on a conscious level. In other words, you'll begin to trust, you'll begin to know, I am one with God. I feel so good. I'm so grateful for the fact that I'm blessed with prosperity and abundance and all those good things. You'll fill in the blanks at that point. So intuitive self-direction, or mystical self-direction, if you will, starts over time while in meditative state, and then when you're not in meditative state, that begins to take over. Suddenly you'll find, for no apparent reason, you're taking a bike ride, or you're driving your car somewhere, you're going for a walk, and even if nothing great happens, it just means God is guiding you, your higher mind, if you will, is guiding you to relax, or just to go somewhere, to distract yourself, to open yourself even more for God guidance. You can't go wrong. The next point, easygoing. I affirm that intuitive self-direction comes forth more readily when I'm in a peaceful state, and a peaceful state occurs more frequently due to regular and ongoing meditation. That's more or less self-explanatory. We covered that a little bit earlier. You'll become more and more easygoing and calm as time goes on, and it'll begin to rub off, because we're basically broadcasting stations. Whatever emotion beneath the surface we're resonating will be broadcast out on an unconscious level to others, and you'll begin to attract back to you, because Einstein One of his physics theories is whatever goes out comes back in a great big circle. So when you're broadcasting out peace and joy and happiness, you'll begin to notice people smiling. You'll begin to notice others around you are more peaceful and more calm. And perhaps they begin a process of mystical self-direction and God guidance. Perhaps they, on some level or another, are benefiting as a result of your presence, of the presence. Little and greater, I affirm that placing the little questions of life into the hands of higher mind, I set the tone or vibration within myself to higher self-direction for greater questions in my life as they may come about. So more and more over time, you won't sweat the big stuff, but you'll begin to ask yourself more important questions. And this is a little bit in line with the light visioning process that Dr. Michael Beckwith came up with, and that Unity churches across North America, probably the world, they call it visioning. Whenever you're in a really tough situation, in other words, as time goes on, and if you've been meditating and breathing the breath of God and of life and focusing in upon your eye of the soul to receive your abundance and prosperity, over time, you'll begin to ask yourself questions when the going gets tough. So let's say you're faced with an apparent challenge in this physical illusionary world. Let's say you've gotten laid off or fired or a relationship ended. Sit in meditative state. Take the breath in, focusing in upon the brow or third eye area, then ask yourself, put it out to the universe, universal mind or God, what does God want me to become? What am I to learn from the situation? And that will come back to you. The law of physics, if you will, that Einstein spoke about, will bring back the answer to you. And it might seem illogical, but you must follow that. Remember the times when you regretted not following your heart or your intuition? My mom used to always say to me, listen to your heart is always right. She was right. And your heart is God guidance, is intuition, is mystical self-direction. It's that still small voice. So hopefully in time you'll listen to that still small voice when it tells you, even if it's something illogical, go here or do that. Because coming around the long way, it may end up, it likely will end up, for your greater benefit and the greater benefit of others. 3 times daily, I recognize that by affirming inner higher self-direction at least 3 times daily, I keep open to having my higher mind lead me. And that's what I said earlier. Meditate 3 times a day in slightly altered state. In other words, during self-hypnosis or altered state during meditation, say to yourself, confirm, affirm and declare right here and right now, I am God guided. I am open to receive the wisdom, the higher mind intelligence of the mind of God to be mystically self-directed, or whatever words suit you. This is my terminology. So say that 3 times every time you meditate, and on an unconscious level, it will open up your mind and your soul to receive. Finally, expect. I affirm that my higher self-direction could enter my mind at any time, in any place, and under any conditions. And that's absolutely true. Your God guidance will come at any time. You might be riding your bike, you might be driving, you might be sleeping. Suddenly you'll get an idea, you'll get a notion. There was an expression, it only takes one brilliant idea. What about the fellow that invented bobby pins, or the other person that invented safety pins? So simple, so brilliant, and guided by God. So all the wisdom, all that intelligence, all the smarts, all the creative smarts, if you will, that comes to you is from God. It's God guided. It's from universal mind, from the universe. Something's out there. If you open yourself to it, it will come to you. So let's say you're in bed. Keep a pad and a pencil by your bed, so you can jot down something. Keep something in your pouch or in your jacket if you're walking or driving somewhere, or even cycling, so you can jot down that inspiration. It might even be a song that will change your life or other people's lives, or it might be something else. It might be a poem. Whatever it is, grasp it. Allow it to come by being opened, and trusting in the reassurance that higher mind, universal mind, wants us to succeed. Life is good, my friends, and we'll be back.
Mystical Wisdom by Dr. Michael Leike will encourage the awakening of your soul for the good of all of humanity and for the fulfillment of your soul's potential in this lifetime. Go forth in love for the evolution of this planet and become all that you can be. Read Mystical Wisdom by Dr. Michael Leike.
Let's take a few moments to go inward again. So I'm gently closing our eyes. We gaze in upon the brow or third eye area. We take the sacred breath in, releasing with a sound.
Source is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. Source is everywhere. There is no place Source is not. Therefore, where we are, Source is. Source is peace, love, joy, harmony, creativity, higher intelligence, wisdom, and just as the sunbeam is an extension of the sun, so too are we. Just as the waves upon the ocean are individualized extensions, expressions of the whole ocean, so too are we perfect, whole individualizations of Mother, Father, God. We already are perfect in the mind of the universe, as the mind of the universe is perfect within us. Right here and right now, in this energy of pure perfection that we are one with, we affirm and we declare that whatever is put out is mirrored back to us, for we are one with the all. An exterior face of love and joy and of bliss reflects our feeling and extension and expression of love, joy, and bliss. We know not where the looking glass begins nor ends. We simply are. And we attract to us only creativity, only peace, love, and joy. For that is what we radiate out, now and forevermore. These words are the law of the universe and already are the mind of God. We let it be so, and so it is, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Mystical Wisdom by Dr. Michael Leike will encourage the awakening of your soul for the good of all of humanity and for the fulfillment of your soul's potential in this lifetime. Go forth in love for the evolution of this planet and become all that you can be. Read Mystical Wisdom by Dr. Michael Leike.
And we're back. I'd love to thank you all for joining us this week for Dr. Michael Leike's Mystical Wisdom, the live streaming broadcast. Until next time, I wish you all peace and richest blessings.